Dear viewers, every year countless NRIs come to India and try to sell the properties that they own, or they try to sell the ancestral properties they would have inherited. During this exercise, most of the NRIs have very bitter experience. They come to India on a short vacation, try to sell the property here. They are quite ignorant about the laws, and at the end of the day, they'll be forced to sell a property without realizing the proper price for the property. In this episode, we are going to discuss how you can make selling of your properties as a pleasurable exercise and you would realize the best possible price for the properties that you own. This is NRI Money Clinic for you, and I am Dr. Chandrakant Bhatt, your financial guide for a happy living.
NRI Money Clinic. No hype, just the right advice.
Dear viewers, expert of the week, to talk about the property related issues, I have brought to the studios one another very eminent faculty from the community of chartered accountant. The expert of the week today is chartered accountant Arun Tiwari. Arun Tiwari has very rich experience of working in the property matters, international taxation, helping the NRI community. He is currently an associate director under EY in PAS Consulting. In the past, he has also worked in the Bombay Stock Exchange in the compliance team. He has worked with Citibank Private Equity and managing their hedge fund team. He has worked as a forensic auditor. He has over 8 years of experience in the stock market as well. Welcome to the show, Chartered Accountant Arun Tiwari.
Hello, sir. It's a pleasure me on this platform. I was looking for from a long time. So hope I will add some value here.
Right. Mr. Tiwari, we at NRI Money Clinic try to solve the problems of NRI community day in and day out. One of the constant messages which keep coming to me and people ask me the question is, we struggle when we try to sell property in India. We have purchased properties there, or we have inherited properties there. Multiple problems we face. So I just thought I'll talk to you the different aspects of this particular problem. And since you are a man on the ground and you have helped hundreds and thousands of people in this particular field, I would like to take the NRI community today through step-by-step process, what problems they might face, what solutions you can offer for them during the course of the sale of properties for NRIs. My first question to you is, based on your experience, what exactly happens when our NRIs try to sell property in India?
So as per my experience from past 7 years, I'm dealing with NRIs. I can categorize the issues why the NRIs don't get best bargain from their property in three main reasons. First reason is lack of time. Generally, they are very short of time when they're planning to sell property. Second, they don't know the tax laws. And third reason is their approach is not right when they're planning to sell. So generally, they appoint one broker and they just trust on them, which creates delay and hassles also. So maybe we'll discuss these points in today's video.
Okay. So if you say these are the reasons because of which the experience of NRIs while selling the property is not very great, can you enlist for the benefit of our viewers a step-by-step process from before they try to sell, during the sale process, as well as what is that they have to do after the sales? Can you list and elaborate on the right steps to follow while NRIs sell the property?
Sure. See, first thing I want to put it here, that these 3 points which I told you, how they are going to tackle this. First problem is the short of time. So when they decided that they want to sell a property, they should have at least 1 or 1.5 months in hand. Okay, because property matters takes time. Second thing, when they are planning to sell, the first person they should meet is a chartered accountant, not the broker. Because what happened, most of cases, the broker are not able to guide them properly. What will be the TDS rate? What will be the taxes? Okay. And with half knowledge, when they approach a buyer, there is a more chances they will stuck in middle of that. So second step, they should consult a good chartered accountant, get the advisory on how much capital gain they have to pay, what is the procedure to get lower TDS and all. And third problem, which I told you, the approach. So they should not trust, or they should not just appoint one broker and forget about that. they should appoint multiple brokers, and then they should also post directly on the website. Now there is nobroker.com and other websites where they can post their property directly, and they can get some good genuine buyer from there also. Okay, so these three things, three ways they can simply solve the issue, and maybe they can get a better price. Now let me list the stepwise approach they should take: pre-sale, during the sale, and after conclusion of sale, so that they can get a better price and this journey become a hassle-free experience. Okay, so let me enlist first part, which is pre-sale. So when you are planning to sell a property, never sell a property in hurry, or at least don't show that to the buyer or to the broker that you are selling the property in hurry. Because sometimes I have seen people give a reason that the property is not appreciating, that's why they are selling, or they need money, that's why they're selling. This first statement itself put your property on a stress sale, and you know that in stress sale generally you don't get a good price. So this first point,
don't give an impression that you are in an urgency to sell. That will be the first reason why the person on the other side thinks that anyway he's going to sell, let me drive down the prices.
Right, because see, this is selling a property is a poker game. Okay, so you have to don't show your cards before you win the game. So that's first thing, because I have seen lots of time people even they face this issue. Second thing, if I say during the negotiation or during the sale, there are some you can say arguments buyer or broker can give to NRI sellers, which they use as a bargaining chip to get the property or drive down the property prices. Okay, so you have to keep arguments for all those things ready in advance. Okay, and after sell, if I say that you have to keep some things in your mind, like the choice of CA who pays the TDS and TDS return, because sometimes what happens, you have to shell out a TDS which is as big as 23% of your sale value. Then you have to also be ready with who will share the society transfer cost, okay, who will share the incidental cost. And if buyer asks you for some kind of surety, should you sign some papers or should you give some other kind of assurance to him? So all these things you have to keep in mind when you're going through.
Mr. Arun Tiwari, as you said, the role of a chartered accountant here is in two places. One, before the sale goes through, a pre-sale level, there is a role for a chartered accountant here. And post-sale also, there is a role for a chartered accountant. Briefly tell me, what is the role of a chartered accountant before the sale and after the sale?
Okay, so the before sale, the NRI should be very clear about first thing is the lower TDS part, whether he can get a lower TDS or he cannot get a lower TDS. Second thing, he should be clear about the capital gain he is going to pay. And third thing, he should be very sure about the buyer, whether buyer will take care of the compliance part or he has to take care of compliance part. So before the deal goes, the seller should be very clear about the tax part, or if I say the capital gain part. Okay, because sometimes what happen in middle of the deal, they come to know that there is a 23% TDS on the wholesale value, not on the capital gain. It's a big shock, and sometimes this news itself can break the deal itself. So this is the basically the role of the chartered accountant before you get into the deal. Then after you get into the deal or the deal is already like in underway, the role of the chartered accountant is to ensure the first thing, lower TDS is applied in advance. Second thing, TDS is paid and properly TDS return is filed. And then after that, once the year ends, the IT return is filed and properly the refund process should be followed, because sometimes what happens, this refund is very big amount, so it takes time and it takes a lot of follow-up with the department to get it. So this is the role of chartered accountant in this whole process.
Mr. Tiwari, many of the NRIs get misled when they come to India. I'll tell you what happens. So to avoid these TDS related issues, NRIs have got a differential TDS. Instead of paying that 1%, 2%, whatever is the applicable for a resident Indian, NRIs have to pay a very hefty TDS at the time of property sale.
Okay.
See, one of the things the buyer tells or somebody misguides these NRIs is, don't mention that you are an NRI. And take this payment in your SB account or some account which is not linked as an NRI account, and you bypass this. If somebody tries to take this route, what consequences might follow?
Okay. So first thing, let me tell you that this is like the worst advice somebody can give you, and it can land both the buyer and seller in the big problem. The reason people say we'll hide is not possible now, because easily somebody using your PAN card can find out that you are not filing return regularly, and generally NRI don't file return regularly. Okay, they can check your passport details. It's also possible. They can check your and if you have NRE accounts, they can check that also. So it's very easy to find out by the department that you are not a resident. The problem is once you have gone through that route, the notice for NRI can come up to 16 years, which is 4 years for the resident. Now you understand, you get a notice after 10 years, you don't even know where are the documents, or maybe you will even forget about the transaction itself. And then after 10 years, you are not able to provide any documents, then they can do ex parte assessment. That means whatever they feel, the department feel, they can put the tax, and plus they can put the penalty, which can be anything between 100% to 300% of tax amount. That what can happen with the seller. Now suppose what can happen with the buyer. Now the buyer's responsibility is to deduct the TDS and deposit the TDS into the government account. Okay, so suppose if buyer fails, there is first thing, there is the interest which he has to pay from the date he made payment to the NRI till date the TDS is deducted. Second thing, he has to pay you can say late fees, which is 300 rupees per day. So now you can understand if something comes out after 5 years or 6 years, what can be amount of penalty which can be levied on the buyer.
So if any NRI is keeping in mind a hope that by hiding the fact that you are an NRI and I'll go through it, I'll bypass this TDS, or if any buyer is giving you an advice that, okay, don't do it this way, please never ever follow that route. IT footprints are quite strong. It is perfectly possible, and countless of those people who have done these dealings have been served with notices and paying the fines through their nose. So don't even keep those thoughts in your mind. The best way, before you get into a sale, whether you know the law 100% correct or not, nevertheless, walk into offices of one of the very competent chartered accountant, ask them, give them the deals, and ask them what are the compliance requirements you have while you sell or while you buy the property. I feel every NRI should take this as a sane advice and move only in this direction. My next question to you, Mr. Arun Tiwari, is that now you have dealt with hundreds of people. Now you know the dialogues which come from the buyers. And whenever they come across an NRI, the kind of arguments they put across to see that the prices are brought down. What are the common objections or the common points put forward by the buyer to drive down the prices? Can you just enlighten my audience on this?
Yeah, I will give some standard question or standard arguments, which is basically used as a bargaining chip. So first bargaining chip is buyer says, I need to pay more TDS because you are NRI. If I deal with resident, it's 1%. In your case, it's 23%. Now, the seller's counter argument should be, boss, that 23% I am paying from my sale account, my sale amount, not you are not paying that. Second question, generally they ask, there are more compliance burden because you are NRI. So there are more hassles. So let me tell you, even buyer is going to deal with the resident, still he has to pay 1% and he has to do the compliance. Only additional compliance he is doing here is taking a TAN number. Okay. Third, generally they say buying property from NRI takes more time. Okay, because you have to wait for lower TDS. Now, let me enlighten that. Even in case of resident you deal, there is a standard, you can say, clause in the sale agreement that 60 days is provided to buyer to get the full amount. So basically, even in case of NRI, that lower TDS comes before 60 days. It is basically 30 to 45 days they get the lower TDS. So you are not spending too much time when you're dealing with NRI. Now, another things they ask that, okay, I need to pay more to my CA because you are NRI and your compliance is more. This is a valid point. And here NRI can reimburse some amount because they have to pay slightly more, maybe 5,000 extra they pay if the seller is NRI. Okay. And last thing, basically they say that I need to pay more stamp duty because you are not accepting cash, which a resident may accept. And that's why I'm losing. So last one, I want to say one thing, even in case you are dealing with the local resident seller, still nowadays you cannot deal in cash. Because what happened if buyer is suppose a person who is in service and is withdrawing money to pay as a cash, is a short way to get a notice. Because one way you are dealing in a high value transaction, second way, same time you are withdrawing a cash. people can give any XYZ excuse, but let me tell you, as a person who deals in litigation on daily basis, this argument is not accepted by department, and they're simply going to add all that cash as a unaccounted this thing. And in that, buyer also pay taxes, seller also pays taxes. Okay, so the counter here, that because so the person is NRI, you are not able to deal in cash, you're not able to reduce your buy price, that's why you are paying more stamp duty, is not valid, because even in case of resident, it is not possible nowadays. Okay, so these are few things which generally people use, and I already explained with the reason that how the NRI can explain them that, boss, this is not a reason.
Right. Recently, we had done one video on do's and don'ts of cash dealings in India, where we have said that cash is on the way out. You should not deal in cash. Law does not permit. There is hefty penalties if you decide to take the route of cash dealings in any of the forms for each and everything, whether it is a business, whether it is a land dealings, property sale, or in borrowing and lending. Cash should not be involved beyond the permissible limit. The permissible limits are too small, and you should not even consider it. The right strategy that you have to adopt is insist everything should be done through the banking channels. That's the best thing that you can do. You may think for a while that, yes, I'm paying a stamp duty, but that saves you enormous amount of pain, litigation, and the penalties which might follow in the months and years to follow thereafter. Mr. Arun Tiwari, it's easy for two of us to discuss things and say that this is the solution. But think about an NRI. He has come to India. He is using his holidays period. He has invested his time into it. He has expectations from it. When people put across all these arguments of why they should get a better deal, how can an NRI still remain in deal, not heartbroken, and how we can still get a better price? A couple of things that you can tell for the benefit of my viewers.
We are not here to break a deal, and we have to suggest some reasonable solution so that deal go through and buyer and seller both are happy. So I will offer here some reasonable solution which NRI seller can offer to their buyer, and so that the deal can go through. The first is sharing the compliance cost, because buyer generally shell out slightly more compliance cost as compared to when they deal with the resident seller. So that first thing NRI can take care, that they can offer to compensate the extra compliance cost. Second is a stamp duty. So if buyer is paying extra or more stamp duty, the seller can pitch in here and they can share the stamp duty cost. Okay, this can be a good breather.
It is not an obligation on the part of seller to pay the stamp duty, but to keep the deal in the going, and to as a offer to the buyer, you can say a small portion of stamp duty I can put from my side, so that will keep him interested in the deal. That's what you
right. That's I'm saying that. See, basically what happened, if I tell you, most of time NRI sellers sell the property when they need the money urgently. So sometimes what happens, whenever they get a buyer, they don't want to shoo them away, and this can be a very good offer from them. They can just take some hit of stamp duty on their shoulder, and buyer can also be happy, and the deal can go through. Another part they can offer is a CA consulting, because most of cases what happen, I have seen, as soon the NRI seller part comes in and all the TDS, lower TDS part comes into picture, most of the buyer, they just get scared and they just move out of the deal. So what NRI should offer, they should offer a CA consulting to buyer first, so that they should be aware that it is not so much hassle, it's very easy, and they will be interested. And another part is, most of cases what happen, because people fear that he's an NRI, maybe there may be some kind of property, or there is a problem when he sell the property, so they are a little bit hesitant when dealing in NRI. Okay, because you understand, when the seller is resident, you can even after sale you can approach him, you can take him to the court, but now the seller is sitting in some other legal jurisdiction, so that hesitation part seller can handle with some kind of surety, some kind of you can say indemnity bond, because see, if there is nothing to hide, there is no problem to giving us kind of surety that if any cost comes to you which is before the sale date, I am ready to bear that. So this will give a more confidence to buyer, and he will go through the deal. So these are few things which seller can take care to ensure the deal go through.
So I will summarize. See, the NRI seller can offer a chartered accountant services. Now, don't tell me telling that I have to do the compliance works and other things. You can say, I will provide the best CA who can guide you on this. You can also say, I can bear a portion of stamp duty if that can really help. That should not come in the first place in any case. And you can also say that I will indemnify you for any of the costs that might come on you for anything that has happened before the date. This can be the sweetness on the sale, and thereby you can help the buyer come out of that hesitation. Should I deal with this NRI or not?
Right.
Mr. Arun Tiwari, thank you very much for your time. Today, you have enlightened my audience with the step-by-step process that they can follow to get a better deal when they try to sell the properties back home here in India. We remain in gratitude to you for your kindness, your time, and your knowledge that you have shared here on the platform. Thank you very much.
So I really, again, thank you, sir, to give me this opportunity to be on this platform and offer some of my experience, which I got through during this whole period dealing with NRIs, and hope this will help to the follower and viewer of this channel also. So that's all. Thank you.
Dear viewers, hope the video that I have done today helped you to understand how you can get a better price, how you are better prepared, and how you can counter the arguments that might come in the way of you realizing a lower sale price when you try to sell property in India. If you have an intention to get a chartered accountant services, or if you need any professional assistance, our team of experts on the ground are always ready to help you. How can you reach out to us? Very simple. Our numbers are shown here on the screens through a WhatsApp message from any corner of the world. You can send a message, and depending on where the property is and what kind of services you need, probably one of our team members should be of help to you in your journey of dealings in properties in India. Dear viewers, if the video helped you to understand the finer points that you have to focus on when you sell your property in India, then please do like this video. Do not forget to share this video with your near and dear ones and friends and relatives. Thank you very much for watching this episode on NRI Money Clinic. I shall be back with you with yet another topic, with yet another expert next Tuesday. Till then, stay safe.
Press the bell icon for more details and subscribe our channel.